I know your face so well, but I can tell that it's changed.
The deepest forms of self-love come in the daily intentional ceremonies we create with ourselves. Making beauty and meaning out of the smallest of actions are sometimes the biggest parts of our healing on this earth. Pausing while making myself a nourishing cup of tea, cacao, or coffee in the mornings, especially on these chilly, almost winter days, feels especially comforting to my heart and soul. It's always special to find ways of warming the heart and body when the air is cold and the nights are long. For me, recently, this has looked like making my morning drinks a divine ritual, a sacred space for me to pause before the busyness of the day ensues. If you were here for my summer vlogs, then you know this cutting board was handmade for me by my grandpa, which I find extra special to integrate into my morning routines. I've been using it every morning along with these mugs I've been making in my journey with ceramics. After setting my intentions over my drink, I sit with my journal and a poetry book to get my morning pages in and start my day inspired by beautiful words. So I made myself a cacao with some maca to help nourish my reproductive system and hormones and just body overall. I love maca because it's this beautiful plant that grows up in the Andes, and it has adapted itself to withstand complete stressful situations, a very arid temperature, very hard to grow in general and it's the only crop that will grow up there, and so it offers the same gifts to our bodies. So I am accepting it during these colder, darker months, and yeah, just hoping that I flourish and grow despite the outside circumstances. And I'm also just giving myself permission to rest and be in this now moment, because I feel like I'm always looking to the next step and looking for the next season of my life and what I might need to flourish in that season, rather than really dropping down and rooting into this moment and what my body and what my circumstances are asking of me now. And what that looks like is a lot of pouring myself into my studies and looking to plants for wisdom and looking to my teachers for wisdom, and just being a student of the earth and student of my body and student of these teachings that I am so blessed to be able to gain insight and wisdom from. So this morning I made my cacao and I took you guys along with me throughout the process, and now I'm just going to journal and take you guys along with me on a day of opening my heart up to every single now moment and just accepting whatever pollinators and whatever gifts want to be brought to me, and staying rooted and firm in my path. I have also been pondering the idea of non-negotiables, and one non-negotiable for me recently is my morning pages. I have created a little discipline sheet for myself out of inspiration from my partner, who created a discipline sheet a while back, and I think I talked about this before, that I hate inviting in structure and discipline because I tend to be very type A, and this healing journey of healing the feminine within me has really showed me that I love the flow and I love the waves that come with just allowing each day to unfold as it does. However, I feel like sometimes inviting in that structure and that masculine and our inner daddy, as one of my friends said, allows that structure to be in place, because we all have our inner moms that allow us to nurture ourselves and give ourselves grace and give ourselves the opportunity to slow down and rest and just not take things too seriously and love ourselves despite the flaws and everything. And then we have our inner dads that come in and set structure for ourselves and allow us to succeed and just be ambitious and all of those things. And I feel like, I don't know if your guys' parents were in their divine feminine and masculine. I feel like mine definitely very much embodied those characteristics and those archetypes. My mom was very loving and always told us that it was okay if we didn't fulfill whatever goals that we were trying to fulfill, and that she loved us despite it, and that we were perfect no matter what. And while my dad did have unconditional love for us, he always pushed us, and he was always one of those figures that saw our potential and wanted us to achieve it. And so right now I am healing my inner feminine and just loving myself despite my flaws and despite the moments when I might not achieve to my standards. And then I'm also inviting in drops of my divine masculine, or my inner daddy, as one of my friends said, and just setting structure for myself, especially in my morning routines. I want to be a little bit more structured and a little bit more diligent with my evolution. And so that comes with 10 morning pages, writing, and just pouring myself into my journal in order to gain inspiration and creativity. And so, as you can see, that divine masculine, that divine feminine intermingle in order to create this whole self. And so while I think we all need to heal the feminine, I think that we need to invite in a healthy masculine too, and that's something that I've been kind of pondering over. I'm always just absolutely blown away when I'm in nature. The feeling of awe is truly there, and it is so transformative. We forget that it is a fundamental part of being human. It is probably the most beautiful part of being human, the capacity to experience beauty and the capacity to experience awe. The awe factor has been shown to transform lives and transform our health. It's just so beautiful to be witness to the earth and the elements and know that we are a part of it. And yet, unlike the birds and unlike the other animals, besides bears, because I think bears pause for the awe, humans are one of the only ones that sit and see themselves as separate from the sunset and see themselves as separate from the wave and separate from the mountains, and identify all of these things as separate from ourselves. And that capacity to experience separateness is our capacity to experience beauty, because we see things as outside of ourselves. Because we see ourselves as separate from the sunset, we see it as beautiful, and yet the birds just fly by because it is just a normal part of their routine. And I think that that's so beautiful. We as humans have the ability to witness beauty. And yeah, so I'm just here witnessing beauty and remembering that I am a part of it, because we all are. After spending some time crafting, studying, and creating, I decided it was time to go for a walk in nature to clear my heart and mind and reacclimatize my body to its natural state, which is peaceful oneness with the world around me. I walked for a long time and lost track of time while watching the waves crash against the shore. And I, of course, brought a good book and my journal to tune in while I tune out. I always feel my most inspired in moments like this. I've been using my creative calls as a cue and an indicator of how well I am doing in my life with my health and journey. We tend to forget that we are creative beings, so it's just as important to have these creative check-ins with ourselves. Asking and staying curious to questions such as, am I feeling inspired by life recently? And what are my practices that are lighting me up? And if I'm not feeling lit up, then how can I reignite this fire inside of me? What song does my heart want to sing? What words do my hands want to write? And what colors seem vivid and potent to paint? And this is what creates the canvas of my life. I have also been keeping these calm bites from Gem in my basket or bag and bringing them essentially everywhere with me. The bites are the perfect daily dose of calm to invite in ease throughout my body and allow for creativity to come through as an undercurrent despite the noise of my day-to-day life. As far as supplements go, I'm usually not a huge fan because typically supplements are filled with synthetic ingredients. However, you guys know how much I love the citrus multivitamins from Gem, and these calm bites from Gem are crafted from real food ingredients, meaning they are not only a tasty chocolate cake-like bite, but they are also absorbed amazingly well by my body because my body recognizes and loves everything within them. I have been enjoying one a day whenever I feel my body needs some extra ease, and within 10 minutes of eating them, my mind and body feel like they can finally take a deep breath. This is because these Gem Calm Bites contain L-theanine, which is an amino acid known to induce a deep relaxation to the mind and body. They also contain magnesium in 2 different forms, which is an essential mineral most of our bodies are depleted in. These bites have become a daily staple for me, which is why I am so excited to share them with you all. If you feel your body needs some extra love and support, which almost all of us do, then head to dailygem.com/Emma and use my code Emma in all caps at checkout for 50% off your first month of Gem. Thank you, Gem, for sponsoring today's video. After calming my mind and body and sitting by the waves in silence and stillness for a while, I read some Rumi and dropped into some more pages in my journal. Something has been feeling so incredibly ignited within my poetic self recently, and I cannot help but feel as though my journal has become an extension of myself. I definitely have always been that girl, especially from a young age, to bring my journal or diary with me and spend little moments of solitude wherever I can, pouring my heart onto the pages. There is something so special about artfully weaving words that start in my brain as chaos and come out in cohesion to really bring ease and peace to my mind. So I sat here watching the waves for a while and journaled for a bit longer. Afterwards, I remembered I had a tincture from the summer that was waiting for me to strain all the medicinal extractions from. On the Lionsgate portal, I had went out to my garden and harvested all the blooms and filled a jar with them, then tinctured them that night with a prayer for these blossoms to bring light into the darkness of winter. Now that it is the colder months, I am so grateful for the girl this summer who knew herself well enough to know this would be the brightest of lights on the rainy days that ensued. This tincture is filled with California poppy, rose, purple top vervain, and calendula, all from my garden. All of these plants work to nourish the nervous system and ease anxiety and tension within the body. Once I strained all the liquid through a mesh strainer, I added the medicine to a jar, labeled them, and added a bit to a dropper bottle to dose myself with this self-love for the days to come. I then got started on processing our pumpkins we had lying around from the fall. I baked the seeds, which are my absolute favorite snack in the winter months. I love the crunch and how amazing they are for our bodies. They are so incredibly rich in protein, healthy fats, and hormone-balancing phytochemicals. I also baked the pulp to have on hand to add into salads and baked goods in the weeks to come. Okay, I am just processing this pumpkin from the fall time, and it's still fall, but I am moving into winter mode and these pumpkins need to be processed. So I'm going to bake the seeds, which are really great for you, and then bake the pumpkin into some pumpkin puree to have for soup and for baked goods just throughout the winter, because it's really high in beta carotene, which is amazing for your skin and also just really great at fighting off cellular stressors, which is huge during the winter time because we get a lack of sunlight, so our immune systems are a little bit lowered and just not as optimized. So any amount of antioxidants that you can have is huge, and pumpkin is very warming to the body, which is also really amazing because it's cold outside and we want to generate inner warmth as much as we can. And I love to cook it and mix it with lots of warming spices like cinnamon and clove and nutmeg. And I love to just make hot pumpkin drinks and yeah, all of those amazing things. And the seeds are amazing for hormone health because, for one, the inside, outside of the shell, is really rich in iron and zinc and different potent lignans, which are amazing for finding hormone balance. So they help you raise estrogen levels if they are too low, but they will help you lower them if they are too high. So they're kind of like an adaptogen, but not completely. I love to pair them with flaxseed during my follicular phase. So from day one of my bleed until I ovulate, I'll eat pumpkin and flax seeds, about 2 tablespoons ground up. But I also love to eat pumpkin seeds as they are because they're a delicious snack, and the outside of them are really great at just alleviating toxins from the body. They help to bind to toxins, especially parasites. If you might be doing a parasite cleanse, they're really great to add into that. I've never actually done a parasite cleanse, but I have been thinking about it because I used to live in a very tropical place for a couple months. Back when I was 19, it was my first like solo travel abroad, but I still feel like it would be really good for my body to do a little bit of a parasite cleanse just because, yeah, I don't know. Everybody has parasites. That's at least what I've heard. And yeah, so I'm just processing this and I'm gonna bake the seeds just with a little bit of sea salt. I love to leave the pulp on because I like the flavor that it leaves, so I'm not gonna rinse them off, but definitely rinse them off if you feel called. And yeah, I'll have those for a little bit, and I'm going to bake up this pumpkin and probably make a salad with it for lunch, a warm salad with some pomegranate seeds. And yeah, I'll show you guys, of course. I just love cooking though, and I just love working with my hands. I feel like it's a very ancestral thing to do. We tend to work with our hands like this, which is not very natural to our bodies, but just like doing these different movements of scooping and plucking and picking and cleaning and making and crafting and creating. It's just so fun. And I also just want to remind everybody that we're all creators, we're all artists, and whether your medium is food or dressing yourself in the morning or doing your morning makeup or writing or painting or gardening, we're all creators and we tend to forget that. So go create whatever calls to your heart. It doesn't have to look a certain way, it doesn't have to look like art, but it all is art. And so yeah, we're all just art, beings of art, creating art within art and also within love, and we're all just contributing to that love, whether we whether we're intentionally doing it or not, but I think the power comes when you put intention behind things. So putting intention behind your creations, putting intention and love behind everything that you do is what I find meaning in, and is definitely my meaning of life, no matter what I'm doing in this life. I hope that it is contributing to just love and intentional moments and helping people heal, whether that's through my words or through my teachings. So. Okay, hopefully you can hear me over the ocean, but you know how right before I sat to read and write, I was talking about the power of feeling awe? And I sat to read Rumi, and I flipped to a page and there was a highlighted mark in the book that read, "Awe is the salve that will heal the eyes." And I just thought that that was so serendipitous and sweet, and just a really great sentiment that I wanted to share with you guys. I've been really loving reading Rumi and finding a lot of inspiration in other poets and writers and their downloads and all of the gifts that they offer. So yeah, I would love to hear your guys' favorite poetry books and what you've been reading in the comments. I spent the rest of the evening setting with the sun and making pottery. Today was a long, beautiful day of working with my hands, which always feels so incredibly regulating. I truly do think this is what we were meant to do, co-create with the earth. Anyways, I spent the evening hours throwing on my pottery wheel and centering myself alongside the clay, shaping the formless into form as we humans tend to do. It is so special to be able to bring you all along with me through the days. It makes me feel just a bit less alone, so I hope you feel the same. I hope you are all finding ways to ignite your hearts this winter. I would love to hear all of the ways in which you are feeling inspired and filled with awe. Until next time, I'm sending each and every one of you a big energetic hug. Talk soon.